Hello and welcome to Good Clean Gaming. I'm your host, Jalindo.
And I'm his wife.
Okay, that's a different one.
I figured I'd change it up a little bit.
Still accurate. And we're playing.
80 days.
Okay. And we're in Atlanta currently. We're on day 55 of our journey. And we're going to get in bed after we plan our trip. We're going to be heading to, I guess we're going to Washington next.
Washington, New York.
Let's see what we got. We got to sell the wax cylinder here. We can go ahead and sell that even though the markets are closed. You can sell. You just can't buy when the markets are closed. And let's look around. We can sell that in New York, so we don't need to go to Washington for that. Are we going to get rid of this?
Yeah, we're not going to Chicago or Miami
or Winnipeg. Let's keep it just in case until we have to get rid of it. Trombone, New York. Yeah, we can keep everything else unless they tell us to get rid of it. So we just need to go to New York. We don't even need to stop in Washington.
Okay.
No reason to stop. Let's get in bed, get some rest.
But I don't want to go to sleep.
Atlanta at the heart of Georgia is a busy city with construction on every corner.
The Civil War had plainly left its mark.
With bullet-holed bricks commonplace, it had been from here that Major General William Tecumseh Sherman had begun his march through enemy territory to the port of Savannah, burning and wrecking whatever stood in his way.
But still, I marveled at the place was healing.
Less than a decade later, and already people were focused on building rather than counting the cost. We may not be much to look at today, Mr., declared Stanley Goodman, owner of Goodman's and Goodman's, a curious hardware store, a bakery and bookshop, into which I stopped to buy something for lunch. But in a few years' time, we'll be state capital, and after that, who knows?
And to what do you attribute Atlanta's great success?
I won't lie to you, mister. Being burned to the ground helps you put things in perspective. From here, we're building up and together.
I just want to know where I bought a hammer and a sandwich is going.
Okay. I bought a hammer and a sandwich and returned to my master. No explanation.
See, I was just like, who bought the hammer? I just needed to know.
I struck up a few conversations here and there, hunting for options for how we might proceed.
And why did he need a hammer? For what?
No clue. Okay, so let's see what we can get into our bags here.
Oh, look, he has a hammer.
A hooded cloak for the urban traveler. We have a false passport, a Gideon Bible, a railway whistle. Hey, we can complete our railway set. Cotton flower, valuable in New York. We'll take that for sure. Valeting set. We don't really need these other things, do we?
No.
I don't feel like we want to take the rest of those. I think we've used enough. We've completed the railway man's uniform, which means we'll be able to, we could negotiate earlier times if we wanted to. I think that is the way those work. So let's try to depart. To Miami? No, we don't want to go to Miami, and we've missed it anyway. Let's take some sleep. Then in the morning, let's see if we can go to Washington. With what remained of the day...
What do you think I'm going to say?
Explore a little.
Yes.
Okay. Found nothing of great interest. Nothing in Atlanta for us to see. Depart. To New York. Embark.
4-4. Yay. We don't have to get rid of any luggage.
Awesome. The great train stations of the Americas are truly sights to behold. Cathedrals to the majesty of the railways.
They will stand for all time.
They will stand for all time as the country grows in strength. Or at least so say the billboards and marketing stands that line the walls of these colossal temples to the large-scale endeavor of tying up a wild country with knots of steel track.
I asked my master his opinion.
And he appeared momentarily disgruntled. I fear, Passepartout, that I prefer trains to airships, but it is personal opinion and nothing more. A child could tell you there is more space in the sky than on land.
Alrighty.
Converse. What is your wish master? My excellent valet.
New York.
Oh, whoops, sorry, wrong button.
Fine.
You must find a route that will get us as close to Europe as possible. New York. Well, one can travel aboard the Canadian Pacific Railway from New York to Winnipeg, but the fare is worth saving up for. London. I have nothing against you personally, Passepartout, but I rarely talk to servants. Oh, no, he didn't.
After all these years.
He did not just go there. After all these 57 days, I passed the train's journey. I passed the train journey. How are we passing it?
Talking to other passengers.
Trying to gather information for our next journey. I encountered a charming American seamstress and...
Had a pleasant, if unproductive, conversation.
You want to grab her hand, too?
Hey.
Okay. Relations with Fogg have strengthened slightly.
Is she pretty?
Greetings, Monsieur Lagarde. Tickets, please. Okay, we're going from New York. Going to talk about New York, or we're going to talk about Washington, Ottawa, or Winnipeg?
New York.
They're building the thing out on the island there. Building that thing on the
Statue of Liberty?
Nice.
Ottawa.
Ottawa. My childhood sweetheart helped build the Canadian Pacific Railway from Ottawa to Winnipeg. I just don't know where to go from New York.
Let's go to Dakar.
Dakar.
Or talk about Dakar.
Never mind that. The quickest way to Dakar from here is to go via Miami.
What?
But now you seem to be in a terrible hurry. No?
No.
I would not say that, monsieur. Good, good. You know what they say. Haste makes waste.
Winnipeg?
Winnipeg. I find my position takes me elsewhere. Duluth, Regina.
Shouldn't it be
Regina?
Winnipeg?
I guess so. Where do you want to go from there? Calgary, Omaha, Toronto, Duluth, Regina? Regina?
Toronto.
Regina? Toronto, okay. Seems unlikely to me. Duluth?
Duluth?
I'm afraid I have to go now. Okay, fine. Alright, we're going to explore New York. The train pulled into New York with a great issuing of steam that blew up into the darkening skies. We disembarked to the faintest smell of salt air. The edge of the Atlantic awaited. Surely we could not be far from home now. Some of our positions could be sold handsomely here. I hope so. Trombone, 2400. Boom, shakalaka. 45 caliber. 500. Boom, shakalaka. Valuable here in Atlanta. We don't need to buy that. 2100 in Lisbon. That's over in Europe. We could probably buy that.
Yeah. I can't believe we didn't get to sell the timetable or the mirror.
We could sell that here.
Might as well.
Let's wait. Unless we have to.
Yeah, until we know if they're going to make us get rid of luggage.
Good idea. Great idea.
Because who wants to pay all those baggage and fees?
If we don't have to. Okay, close. We're not going to buy the rest of that stuff. We're going to leave it the way it is. Explore. Hopefully this explorer will tell us what routes we got. Here's our routes. 2 routes coming off that. Going parallel. One goes north-ish. One goes south. One goes to Reykjavik. The other one goes directly to London. I was pickpocketed in New York.
Oh, come on. Why am I always getting mugged?
Well, here's your choices.
Season. I can take their hand again.
Mm-hmm. You want to do that?
Yes.
I seized the thief's hand romantically. Still in my pocket. You tangled with the wrong Frenchman. I exclaimed in triumph, only to be immediately fumble, getting my other hand caught inside the cuff of my coat, so that as the creature in my grasp squirmed, she, for it was but a 10-year-old girl, pulled me off my feet, leaving me robbed and in the gutter to boot. That's an interesting event.
Oh. I'm just going to return to I'm not telling anybody that story ever. I'm just returning to the hotel.
Dejected, 20 pounds poorer, and with nothing good to say about this foul city of ne'er-do-wells and hoodlums. Funds go down a little. Relations with Fogg have strengthened slightly.
Go find a police officer. Little girl just mugged me.
Okay, so Reykjavik leaves in 2 days. The London departs tomorrow.
We have time, though. Let's go to the other place.
Reykjavik? Well, at least let's sleep today, and let's see how much it would cost and how, all that kind of stuff, all the information. And then if we don't want to go, we'll sleep and we'll go to the other one. As night fell, I buffed, or what do we want to do?
I want to stretch my legs.
Stretch legs. And spoke to a cheerful San Franciscan clerk who had mislaid a locket, which I spotted and from whom I learned that not everything you hear is always true.
I paid £1 for the information.
And he nodded and then moved away. The funds have gone down a touch.
Fine.
Okay, so to go to London is 5,300. We have just enough to make it to London if we want to actually go directly there. It arrives Friday, so 2 days from now. Or we can go to Reykjavik for £330, arrives Saturday. But that'll leave tomorrow. And then we still gotta get to London.
We have 22 days. Why don't let's go the other place?
Let's go to Reykjavik. That's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna sleep another night and we're gonna go to Reykjavik. Before retiring,
Let's help the kitchen staff.
helped the kitchen staff for the money. We earned £106. Nice.
Yeah, I wanted to make it a little bit more, just in case it was really expensive from Reykjavik to London.
Okay, so to Reykjavik.
Yes.
Arrives Saturday, so we're going to embark on a spacecraft, apparently. That looks weird. They allow 0 baggage.
No.
So you still want to go to Reykjavik? Or do you want to go... We have 2 choices. These are the only 2 choices, and we have to make them quick, so...
I don't know. We'd have to sell everything.
We have to sell everything, or we have to take the London trip, which is all of our money. But we make it in time.
Okay, you might not like this.
What?
But let's sell everything.
Okay, we're going to sell everything. Open the luggage. Alright, selling our hammer. Selling our salve, our cold compress, our penny black, cotton flower, railway whistle. The wife has spoken. Railway cap. Hand mirror, American train timetable, neck cushion, rubber soled shoes, antique map, Darjeeling tea, goodbye Earl Grey, our Englishman evening jacket, our wool shirts, and our wool trousers. And to Reykjavik. Rough skies, negative 34 health.
I'm leaving on a rocket ship.
Is that the ship, the little thing from the end of like Willy Wonka's? Remember the elevator? It looks like the elevator from Willy Wonka. The ice wind was a pendulously large Savarkar Atmotic that wanted to fly 4 or 5 miles high and had to be hauled down to the docks by a team of 30 or 40 steam winches.
Wow.
It seemed large for a ship traveling to Iceland.
Yeah.
But I was informed by a dockhand that most of the space was for cargo, not people.
Oh,
Indeed,
cargo, but we couldn't take any luggage.
Indeed, space was at such a premium, passengers were allowed no luggage. It seemed overly fastidious. But Monsieur Fogg was, of course, entirely untroubled. We have no further need of luggage, he declared. Therefore, we signed our visa forms and discarded our luggage. It was soon time to depart. Converse. I'm at your service, Monsieur Fogg. All is well with you, I trust?
Journey.
Day 59, I believe. We must keep going. Money. How are we for money? We are very well funded indeed. You have made some excellent decisions.
Very good.
Here we go.
Ice wind.
To Reykjavik. Conditions about the ice wind were comfortable enough for the 30 or so passengers making the trip.
I set about befriending the crew.
Particularly intrigued to know what the bulky cargo was being shipped. But I gained no answers that first day. Evening crept in on us, slowly as we headed north.
I'm getting a little suspicious.
Me too.
Nobody can have cargo, but yet it's a huge cargo ship.
Yep.
So what do they have on that cargo ship?
Yep. I went ahead and took care of Fogg since we had some time. We had passed the latitude of London, Monsieur Fogg declared, and I wondered if I could detect sadness in his tone.
Maybe he was homesick.
Perhaps even he was homesick. We had, after all, been on the longest journey imaginable, and by some measures we were as far from home as it was possible to be. I suggested trying to bribe the crew to fly due east, or one of the other ones.
I took my leave of him and went to talk to the crew about the cargo. I want to know what's in the cargo area.
Okay. Still intrigued as to what we were carrying, but gained only vague hints. That was bulky, valuable, and extremely time sensitive.
But what is this thing?
I persisted. You must have seen it. Oh, I've seen it, she replied. But you wouldn't believe me if I told you. A puzzle. But would I ever see its solution? Day 60, Monsieur Fogg murmured that night in his sleep, and still some distance yet to travel.
Oh, he wants to go home.
Reykjavik. Here we come. The third day was short. We arrived into the skies above Reykjavik as the sun was gathering across the sky, across the water. From the rail, I could see
An endless expanse.
an endless expanse of plains, mountains, and ice-capped wastes, punctuated by intermittent clouds of smoke rising from cracks in the ground. A primeval wilderness spelled improperly. No, that's wilderness. Wilderness, if ever we had seen one. As we landed,
I looked back, hoping to catch of our mysterious cargo.
That sounded good. Being unloaded.
I think they were trying to say hoping to catch sight of our mysterious cargo.
Hoping to catch of our mysterious cargo being unloaded. Yeah, you're right. As I watched, the whole nose of the craft was detached, and something was dragged out by a team of steam carts with winches.
Guards stood on either side.
Well armored and armed to the teeth, as though expecting attack from an army. It was hustled onto a wide-gauge train, which puffed away to deliver it elsewhere. Indeed, a puzzle.
What do you think it is? What do you think it is?
Who knows? We're in Reykjavik. The only thing we can do is explore, so let's explore. New routes discovered.
To London!
To London! Reykjavik was a quiet town with a few inhabitants, but still had the feeling of a bustling center of commerce.
The flag of the Kingdom of Denmark fluttered above the trade hall,
declaring this place as an outpost. But of all the outposts, colonies, and adjuncts of great nations we had seen, it deemed the most comfortable in its skin.
This comfort most likely derived from the natural hot springs,
which we tried out in an open area behind a fine fish restaurant. Monsieur Fogg sat at one end and myself at the other, and we breathed in gulps of steam with a deep, satisfying sigh.
They should fit these in Hyde Park.
They should fit these in Hyde Park, I exclaimed. Monsieur Fogg shook his head. I think they are heated from underground thermals, he replied. In London they would require coal, but in London there are better uses. I do believe it was the first time I heard him say, even in a roundabout fashion, that any place had its own elements of value. Let's plan our trip. There's London. It's $1,000 to get over there. And it departs in 2 days, so we gotta rest for 2 days.
See, I think we actually even saved money.
Yeah, we did. Passing the night.
Do you remember how much money we started the game with?
4,000 pounds. So we have more money than we started with.
But it's going to cost $1,000 to get home, so we're going to
end up with still more than we started with.
Neat.
Which is, we did
and
great.
We traveled around the world.
I wish I could do that. I wish I could travel around the entire world and come back richer than when I left. That would be awesome. We passed an anxious night. With our 80-day deadline looming, every sunset seemed to carry extra weight. We took a room and settled in, and
I went to stretch my legs.
Of course you did. And spoke to a somewhat frantic Italian youth who had mislaid a lock. What's with lockets, people? Keep track of your lockets. When I spotted and from whom I learned that not everything you hear is always true.
I asked him how he knew.
But he merely winked and moved away.
I wasn't paying money again that time.
Okay, still the plan is to go so we can just go to the hotel for tonight. And in the morning we're heading for London, I guess. Another night, and the clock was forever ticking upwards. Within the last hour of the evening,
my legs need some more stretching.
And very much enjoyed my time away from Monsieur Fogg. When I returned, I felt much finer fettle.
Much finer fiddle.
Much finer fettle. I have to look up the word fettle now.
I felt much finer fiddle. Just fun to say.
He spent too much time in New Orleans. London? That's the only place to go. Off to London. With one suitcase that has nothing in it because we didn't have a suitcase. Here we go. Oh, departing in 1 hour. We gotta go.
Ooh, run!
Here's the ship. The Silver Seal was a smaller ship than the Icewind had been, and a Gaelic to boot.
We loaded up.
We loaded up and strapped ourselves in for the launch. Relations with Fogg have strengthened slightly. We're on our voyage to London. We're gonna make it.
With time to spare.
Yeah.
And money to spare.
This is awesome. We didn't stay above the 4,000 like I thought we were. We must have spent too much on the hotel 2 nights. Let's go ahead and hit the wait button. Adventurer Fogg expected back shortly. The ocean tore along beneath us. I enjoyed talking to no one. There was nothing I needed to know, no one to charm, flatter, or beguile into giving us aid. There was only the wind and time. And we could control neither. Passez partout, my master demanded. Make us go faster if you would.
I approached the captain.
I approached the captain. Faster, you say? You are crazy. We would explode. We want no risk, no danger. Then I promise you, we will be in London in 2 more days.
Silver seal.
Converse. What is your wish, master? My dear Passepartout. Journey. There are still a few days left to us. We cannot afford to lose a single day. London. Goodness, but I can't tell you what I don't know for certain. Paris. I love the smell of Sienne in the morning. Okay. So here we go. Our final leg of our journey. Monsieur Fogg looked out of the observation deck windows with perfect calm, and there was no reason to be concerned. We were safely within our 80-day window. I could not wait to stride into the Reform Club and claim our prize. I spent the remaining time
Embarking on the writing of this account.
Though I found already the details of our early adventures had grown vague and indistinct. Relations with Fogg had strengthened slightly. We tethered at the airship dock in Hyde Park and felt for the first time in 65 days the feel of English soil under our shoes. At long last, we had returned to London and in good time to win the wager.
We had a wager on this?
Yeah, we were wagering that we could make it around the world in 80 days. That's why at the beginning you said that our new master was a gambling man.
Ah, so what do we get? What was the wager?
We're going to find out. Hit the return button. Ready?
Yes, return.
I seized my master by the collar and threw him into one of the steam carriages idling at the banks of the Serpentine in Hyde Park. To the Reform Club, I shouted.
Before ejecting the driver from his seat and taking the wheel myself.
I threw a lever and opened the throttle. The driver's curses were drowned by the shrieking whistle of the boilers. There's no need for such unseemly haste, Passepartout, my master noted, but I was a man possessed. The streets of London seemed
comforting and familiar
as they flashed past my well-traveled eyes. The carriages were mostly horse-drawn, and the gas lamps rather than electricity lit our way as we raced down Pall Mall. The carriage barely shuddered to a steam-hissing stop before I dragged my master from his seat and up the steps to the imposing doors of the Reform Club. I released him only when we reached the great saloon, where
my master's 5 antagonists, ...
My master's 5 antagonists stood from their chairs, gaping in an attitude of great shock. Monsieur Fogg only straightened a little and said in his calm voice, "Gentlemen, here I am." The room erupted into cheers.
Where had the crowd come from?
Had they followed us inside from the street? I had scarcely noticed them. I realized as though a spell had suddenly broken that
my master had won his wager.
Wager of £20,000.
And a brand new car.
A brand new car. Do, 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 do. Oh, with the 4,000 we began with our remaining funds, it was a profit of over 19,000. Hardly a meager sum. My heart began to beat again, and I saw for the first time
the crowds who had forced their way into the club.
To witness the momentous occasion, a journalist in a dark blue bonnet caught my eye. "And you must be the loyal valet, Passepartout," she said.
I do not believe have been introduced.
"I do not believe we've been introduced," I remarked. "All of London has been feverishly following Phileas Fogg's progress in the papers." She swept her gaze over me and scribbled furiously in her notebook. "Your master will be tomorrow's headline, or I'll eat my hat."
He will not enjoy fame, I think.
She shrugged. "Then we will write about that in a few weeks' time, I suppose." I pushed my way through to Monsieur Fogg, who had nearly been swallowed by congratulatory crowds. "You have won the bet, monsieur," I told him.
As though saying it aloud once more would make it more real.
And then repeated the sentiment again for good measure. Monsieur Fogg pressed my hand warmly, and did not remark even once upon the impropriety of my gesture. Indeed, though his cool gaze did not so much as waver or soften, I believe he welcomed the chance to shake my hand. I thank you for your service as my valet passepartout, Monsieur Fogg said coolly. Though you did not perform your duties with particular skill, you were not particularly incompetent either. Steady mediocrity is a quality I admire in a servant. With Monsieur Fogg, one had to take one's compliments as they came. Mr. Fogg, the blue-bonneted journalist cried, interrupting our conversation. What's next for the great adventurer Phileas Fogg and his loyal valet, Passepartout? My master looked at me. I returned the glance. I have always wondered what is in the center of the earth. I looked around at the faces of the assembled crowd and quirked an eyebrow. Anyone care to make a wager? Monsieur Fogg refrained from rolling his eyes. I believe, he said with great deliberation, that tonight I will have supper and go to bed. Come, Passepartout, it grows late. Yes, Monsieur Fogg, I said and followed. Your journey around the world is complete.
Aw, and we're the most renowned explorer. Oh, never mind.
Yay! Yay, Earl and Dolores.
Victor.
And Hannah.
Agatha.
And all of those guys and gals, they did it.
Wasn't it Earl who tripped over the rock?
Even on stage. There was a rock on the stage. How did he get it there?
Even people in comments were like, I don't get how he tripped over a rock.
The Times celebrated Englishman Phileas Fogg wins the round-the-world wager. Journey completed in 65 days despite fighting in Acapulco, Reykjavik diversion, and contracting cholera. Visited 18 of 169 cities, traveled 27,000 miles. Favorite transports are airships. Finishing balance was 19,000 pounds. Traveled 7,000 miles, 10,000 miles by land, 9,000 miles by air. Total amount spent was 18,000. Steadfast character. Manner was collected. Valeting was sound. Relations with Fogg was comfortable. So there we go. Nice. Nice. You can see our whole route here too. We started in London. We went around through the whole Trans-Siberian Railroad.
Yeah, we didn't get to go to South America or Africa.
Across the Pacific, through Honolulu, through Mexico.
After the mistake I made earlier in the game, after I was trying to recover from it, so I just was like, straight line, get there as fast as we can.
Yeah, we did phenomenally.
I was scared we weren't gonna make it.
We did phenomenally well. I'm very impressed. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun for us. I enjoyed it a lot. How about you?
I mean, there are so many different choices you can make and different routes to take. So, yeah, there's a lot of possibilities with this game.
Awesome. Yeah, and this game, by the way, I forgot, I should have mentioned this originally. This game's not just available on Steam, it's also available on Android and iOS. So if you prefer to play this game mobily, you can. And yeah, check that out. So yeah, this has been a really fun series. I enjoyed it a lot. We're going to end it here. Thanks so much for watching. Please feel free to
subscribe.
And do that by
clicking the subscribe button.
Yes, and I've been Jalindo.
And I've been the wife.
And remember,
keep it clean.